Is there any board members who wish to pull a consent item?
Yes, I'd like to pull item number 8.
Supervisor Folendorf pulls number 8. Any other board member? Any staff member wish to pull an item off consent? No? Any member of the public wish to pull anything off consent? Seeing none, bring it back to the board. Open for a motion for the remainder of the consent minus number 8.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I have a motion by Supervisor Stopper,
Second.
seconded by Supervisor Folendorf. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Supervisor Folendorf, you pulled item number 8.
Chair, actually, I should probably recuse myself from item number 8, so if it's all right, I'll zip out.
Okay.
Okay. I have a couple questions, and hopefully maybe Doc can clarify some of the language in the agreement. One of the biggest things I'm concerned about is the date frame. My understanding, at least when I voted at the beginning of the year for the fiscal year, it was only supposed to be a 1-year allotment, and I see this terming out at 2026, and I am worried about that. I know it says in there that there are options, but given the changes going on, I don't want there to be an assumption of intent that the county will be actually obligating these funds over the next subsequent years. So the date really concerns me on that, because that's not what I voted on in supporting to give the 1-year allotment. The other issue I have is in the clause of the marketing of tourism for the west side. I thought this was supposed to be in conjunction with the current tourism marketing plan. So if it's not, what is the blueprint of we are agreeing with what that marketing plan is going to be like? And I didn't see a plan attached to this agreement for this. And I'm asking because if the board, the majority of the board chooses to continue this in the next fiscal year and beyond, I want to see what the data points are. What is the plan that we're supporting on this? Because this, it's not clear what that is. Also, the other thing is, I think this is a carbon copy of another contract, and the chamber is primarily a membership organization, and that's not in the mission statement or the vision of this. So I want to get that clarified, because it seems to be a copy and paste from another agreement, and that's not what the chamber really is. The chamber is a membership organization of businesses that are focused on the economic growth and supporting the small businesses, and it doesn't make sense to me on that. And then the other concern I had was in the liability, it just making it clear, not just the board, but I wanted to see if there was any way to make it clear for the membership, because it is a membership organization, not that liability. It's just not, the board works off of the memberships, not just them. And so I want to make sure that the memberships understand what the board is agreeing to, and we're not holding the bag of any expectation from the county on the liability. So I don't know what that type of language would look like, but it does concern me a little bit on some of this, since it is kind of a carbon copy from another agreement and doesn't really focus on the chamber.
Supervisor Folendorf, through the chair, we can certainly revisit the time frame in the agreement. As far as the marketing plan, I do believe someone from the chamber's here, and perhaps they can address some of their plans for marketing, and we could request that they come back at a later date for presentation on exactly what their plans are for that. As far as the legal issues that you have raised with the agreement as far as liability, I would let counsel speak to those.
I hear what you're saying, Supervisor Folendorf. I think that from, when we're looking at this agreement, the agreement obviously is between the county and the organization. And so, we can only write in terms that bind the county and the organization. The relationship that the organization has with its membership and how they would or would not be liable for the board or the organization's dealings is as between them.
Yeah, but we're using public funds to give to an organization that is membership, supposed to be membership funding. And so what is the accountability of the memberships and ensuring that we're not having unintended expectations of what these funds back to the public of what they need to be using that money for. And so I just want to make sure that it's clear. I mean, I understand where the board's going, but I want to make sure that extends beyond the board of what their membership is supporting for the county to give this allocation of funds from the.
Okay, sorry, I probably misunderstood your question. So I don't see that as a liability or indemnification question. That's more just what are the funds being used for, or the purpose of the funds, which is something that could be, further written into the agreement.
It's for.
Correct.
Yeah, but there's no blueprint. I mean, it's like any other organization, we give money, but we also have a return of expectation of what the board or whether it's a board or the, in this case, membership, have an expectation. And I think it needs to be clear. And, one of the biggest concerns I have is because of the rapid changes that are happening. And I don't know what that's going to look like in another year. And I'm concerned that there's going to be unintended expectations from this board of those funds because of membership expectations of the board. And they're not going to be able, to be frank, they're not going to be able to execute.
And so I think, and I don't want to speak for the CAO, but I do think that, obviously, so the board budgeted these funds already at budget. The intention with this agreement is to create some expectations and, I don't know what word you want to use, accountability for how the funds will be used. If the board wishes to direct staff to revise this or put in different, then we certainly staff can certainly work on that and go back. Obviously, it'll require,
Go back and start.
correct, the chamber. We can't make unilateral changes. Correct.
Supervisor Stopper.
I did have some questions from some constituents on this, and just to make it clear, because it was specific on one of our expectations that we did discuss during the budget hearing, and part of the reason we are giving them the money is to bring up the amount of marketing for, visitor-based and business-based on the west end of the county. So in this part, with the money that we're giving them, the expectation is for them to bring that marketing up to a certain level. But this doesn't bind the money from the member base to be able to market the rest of Calaveras County when it comes to businesses and everything. And so that's.
But they specifically
I'm
said
I'm
what?
talking to my constituents' question, Ms. Folendorf.
I know, but the contract says west side, so.
No, I
don't
think
understand.
Yeah, that's what I think your confusion is, because it's with our money, not their money. That's our
Correct.
expectation with the money that we're giving them. The money that comes from their member base can go to the rest of the county wherever they want. That's pretty clear to me.
This is only for the
Yeah, for the money
50,000 then.
that comes from us.
Yep. Chamber rep, you want to come, Michelle?
Hi, I'm Rachel Sparks. I'm the Executive Director new of the Chamber of Commerce. Hi. So, yeah, the focus with the money that I have been given so far is we are working on promoting, the west end of the county specifically is kind of where most of it will go. We do not have a complete plan yet to kind of show that out, but I would definitely meet at a later date and be glad to present a full business plan for that money, if that's something that the board requests. So, yeah, sorry, a little nervous. Is there any specific questions I can answer right now?
Supervisor Garamendi.
I'm sorry, this isn't a specific question here. I mean, you've been on the job like 3 days. I don't think we can hold you
Pretty
to being
new.
responsible, and I know there's been a break, so
Yeah.
we should not expect that from you. But I think one of the things I just want to emphasize is that, this money is to augment efforts for marketing on the west side, and I'm going to include a lot of the north side. And I want to make it very clear, I think we all understand this is an annual donation that we're making, so there's no guarantee, and we could be specific about that. But I also want to make it clear that the Visitors Bureau does not absolve them from their responsibilities from taking care of the west side equally to what's going on the Highway 4 corridor. We all value that corridor greatly for our economy, but this is an augmentation, not a replacement. And I want to make sure that everybody's aware of, at least that's my interpretation of our intent.
I agree with Supervisor Garamendi on this. The CVB, we give year after year after year, we give them hundreds of thousands of dollars, and primarily their focus is on Highway 4 corridor. And for all the years I've been sitting in here, always saying we need some representation on the west side, equal it out, and we're starting to see that somewhat. The CVB was at the Craft Fair in Valley Springs at the parade. So we are seeing it, and it's truly appreciated. But this is it was given direction when we had it at budget, and this is part of the agreement. And again, like County Council says, if we change any of this agreement right now, it's going to have to go back and recirculate it around and redone. And it's taken since budget time to get it here now because of a lot of things that were said and were being negotiated and talked about. But this is the basic agreement that was, I think it was brought to us before, and we agreed. So those are my comments.
I'm just concerned about using the augmentation if the expectation is still CVB. So where is that unit? Because at least my intent was to help bring the chamber and CVB more together in a unified collaborative effort. And so to ensure that those businesses are being represented, and that's one of the biggest questions, what does that look like? Because if you have someone who is fairly new, I mean, how are we going to support that unity rather than continue to be two separate and be siloed? I get the mission statements and the visions are very good, but at the same time, they're still trying to bring in those dollars into this county to continue to support all of these services. But what does that augmentation look like? And that goes back to the marketing plan. I just want to make sure that those expectations of what the intent is going to be truly reflected, because if we put this investment and we have a return on that investment, then that's something to discuss about in the next year, but we don't have any data points of where we're going to be able to support that, of how those dollars are going to, we're going to see those dollars return, whether it be in sales tax or TOT or what have you. And that's why I'm asking for a marketing plan. It's not, I want to make sure that this investment, so we can continue to support this collaborative effort of bringing the two entities together to maximize organizations we already have in this county to do the best for our small businesses and tourism.
Mr. Chair, I agree, Amanda, and I think that bringing these things together we're well on the course for that. We're on a new day. I understand you're wanting to have accountability and a marketing plan. I asked the CVB for 7 years to have that. Well, we gave them millions of dollars. 7 years later, we have an agreement where they've just this year will be our first year of reviewing their business plan and marketing plan. This year, we still haven't got the final one yet from them. So I think this is a good path forward, and I concur that we should do that. They should come together, and I think we should have a little bit of patience. Certainly, we showed endless patience for the CVB at the cost of millions of dollars, and we're having a positive outcome. So that's all my comments.
Supervisor Stopper.
I've seen them come together consistently over the years. They've worked together phenomenally. I see this relationship building. I see it as a positive thing for the county as a whole. You know, to help get two entities, you know, more latitude to collaborate is a good thing. What's your name again?
Rachel Sparks.
Rachel Sparks. Well, welcome, and we look forward to working with you.
I do.
Sorry, go ahead, Gary.
I do have one request. Is it possible that you could come before the board and give us update reports, say quarterly, over the next year, and just give us a report on where we are, this marketing plan and what's
Yep,
going on?
That sounds excellent, yeah.
And just to be clear, so that we're all on the same page, the agreement requires those things of the
Yes.
chamber. That's the idea, right? In exchange
Yeah.
for the TOT funds, they will share a marketing plan, make presentations to the board, et cetera. So that is drafted into the agreement.
I wanted to make it quarterly. It does say they come for us, but I'm trying to make it at least quarterly, at least the first year here, that we've given you the money, and so it makes everybody else feel more comfortable. You guys are working together.
Absolutely, yes.
Any other questions or comments? And public comments and questions? Any public in the room? No? How about online? Oh,
I'm Cheryl McEwen Harper, District 2 resident, and I really like what you just said about accountability. I read the agreement, and I did not see that they were being asked to report on this as a new program. You know, all I saw was that the contract read once a year next year, so I really like what we just talked about in keeping them a little more accountable on a new program. And then I'd really like to see that level of accountability with the Visitors Bureau. Thank you.
any other public comments in the room? Seeing none, is there any online?
There are no online requests.
Okay, I will bring it back to the board.
So
Open.
to clarify, we're not recommending changing the year.
We're not what?
Recommending to change the year.
I think we probably should, because we agreed to 1 year on fiscal. This is the one part I heard clearly from you that I agree with, Amanda, is that it says 3 years in the contract right now, and we probably should bring it back, because we only agreed to a 1 year at this time, and then it would come back and we would approve it after that. It's not a 3 year thing that we agreed to at the budget time.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I agree, Ben. We didn't agree to 3. I think we're making that very clear in the public that this is an annual thing. I don't want to speak on behalf of council and CAO, but I imagine this is just to make sure we don't have to do this annually.
So Supervisor Garamendi, through the chair, council and I have conferred, and we could amend the time frame in the agreement, and if you would give me the authority to sign with that one amended change.
So we could vote on it now.
You could, yes. So, right, and to be clear, while it is a 3-year agreement, it is very clear that these are TOT funds that are fully within the board's discretion to allocate or not allocate at budget time in whatever amount the board chooses. And the idea was, as you say, Supervisor Garamendi, to do a 3-year agreement so that in the event the board does allocate funds for the next 2 years, we would already have this in place. And that does mirror the agreement with the Visitors Bureau. That said, yes, if a majority of the board were to direct staff to go back to the chamber and make it a 1-year agreement and give the CEO the authority to sign, we could certainly do that as well. It's completely up to you.
Based on that, do I have a motion?
From what I'm hearing, it doesn't matter either way. We can change the amount of funds it is, even if it's a 3-year agreement.
That's correct. These are general funds fully within the board's discretion to allocate at budget.
I'm willing to make a motion for not amending it and moving forward with the contract as it is.
I have a motion by Supervisor
Second.
Stopper. I have a second by Supervisor Garamendi. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Passes 3-1.